Hello everyone, this is The Big Fight and I'm Maria Shakil. There is never a dull day in Delhi politics. If you thought that after voting the political temperature of the capital will cool down a bit, you are wrong. A day before counting, knives were out as usual as the Aam Aadmi Party made a sensational charge that the BJP was offering crores of rupees to its candidates to switch sides. The BJP vehemently rejected the allegations, calling it Aam Aadmi Party's frustration after exit polls predicted a BJP sweep in the national capital. The party also threatened legal action against Arvind Kejriwal. The day was full of drama, twists and turns as the Delhi Lieutenant Governor in fact ordered a probe into the Aam Aadmi Party's charge, and within no time, teams of Anti-Corruption Bureau landed at the home of Arvind Kejriwal demanding proof of the claim and details of the phone numbers used to make calls to allegedly lure up candidates. Now, all eyes are on Super Saturday, that's tomorrow. If predictions made by the exit polls hold true, then BJP is set to end its 27-year-long vanvas from the national capital. Almost all exit polls have predicted a BJP win in Delhi. Is there a wind of change in the capital? Or can Aam Aadmi Party hold on to its fort? What will the results mean for the larger politics of India and the future of the Aam Aadmi Party and also the India bloc? Joining me on the show, Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Valmiki Nayak, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist. Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Hello. Professor Sandeep Shastri is national coordinator of Lokniti. Before I bring in the experts, I want to understand from you, Shazia. The question is that if there is an allegation of this nature, it should be probed. But the larger question of politics behind it, why is the BJP doing what Aam Aadmi Party is alleging it is doing?
So just because Aam Aadmi Party is alleging does not quite translate to whether BJP is doing it. And if Aam Aadmi Party really believes that 16 of the MLAs are being poached, and that also without any idea of whether they're winning or losing, then surely Aam Aadmi Party should be able to give the names of those Vidhayaks or at least give the numbers of who has been calling them and are making these offers. If you remember, they said 7 earlier and 16 now. And when the Anti-Corruption Bureau, when there was this entire conversation and ask from ACB that they should at least be given some evidence to that effect, they again, as always, they like shoot and scoot policy, which is what they're known for. So it was just to keep themselves being in the headlines, which they've succeeded in because we are discussing it, without any evidence or shred of evidence whatsoever. Surely those people where they got these offers from would have some number, would have some form. Surely it would have materialized out of somewhere, right? So what is that the police is asking for, the evidence? Surely they have something to say. I mean, I can say they're offering me money.
Okay.
Let's say I'm saying today that, Kejriwal called me and 14 people called me and they're offering me 10 crores to leave BJP. Will that become the truth?
So, so you're saying that these are wild allegations without any basis, Valmiki Nayak?
Yeah, it's more of the same,
It's Kejriwal playing the same script over and over again, and this time it's more of an act of desperation, particularly keeping in mind the exit polls, which you have dismissed at the moment though.
First of all, good evening to everyone. I think when the exit polls first came on the evening of the day of the election, everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked for two reasons. One is that it was, majority of the polls showed a clear victory to the Bharatiya Janata Party. And secondly, everybody was shocked to see so many agencies, some of which we had heard for the first time. And as the day progressed and then the next day came through, these developments started happening where Aam Aadmi Party candidates started getting calls. And then it became clear why there were so many exit polls in a hurry to portray the Bharatiya Janata Party as the victor in this election. And it was very obvious that it was to create this aura that BJP is forming the next government, and they tried to call our MLAs or candidates in an attempt to wean them away, saying that, listen, your party is losing badly it's better you join us right away. And 3 days between the election and the results for counting, when it is a EVM election, I think that's what these 3 days were for this Operation Lotus. As far as the evidence or the proof that everybody is demanding, I think one of our ministers himself has already revealed the phone number from which the calls came. We have given this evidence to the ACB in a complaint. Mr. Sanjay Singh himself had reached the ACB office, but for some strange reason, the ACB reached Mr. Kejriwal's home. I've never seen the ACB in a hurry to investigate anything. They were in such a hurry, they reached Mr. Kejriwal's home without even a letter, any kind of authorization, any kind of evidence. First, they claimed that some BJP person had...
But because it's
there is some confusion here. I think there is some confusion here. So are you saying that the ACB is acting upon the complaint of AAP or not? On the one hand, you're saying that they don't listen to us. On the other hand, where ACB actually takes it seriously and goes to your office, you refuse to show up, you don't give them permission. So what was the whole idea? To do a press conference and not let the police know, or just to defame the police? And the ACB, from the statement I read, no numbers have been given. The name of MLAs have not been given.
Shazia, I'll move on to others. I'll be moving on to others, and then I come back to the politicians. Because the timing, on the eve of results, this is not for the first time that such allegations have been made against the political opponents of one party or the other. So nothing new. But what it certainly shows, Neerja Chaudhary, is that, something that we saw play out through the elections, that Mr. Kejriwal, this time around, continued to indulge in that fear mongering. And something which really shocked most was to say that Yamuna water is being poisoned by Haryana government. I mean, that's like next extent of allegations that politicians in this election indulged in.
Yeah, number one, we will know within hours whether the BJP has been poaching on the MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party. We will know, whether MLAs are elected, whether they've switched sides. That is not something that will be hidden. So I think we could have waited for 24 hours rather than I agree with you, these serious charges. And there have been, you're right, it's been very, very shrill and very vicious campaign. And I was thinking, gone are the days when elections were held and a smooth transition of power took place from one party to another. Even Indira Gandhi in 1977, when she lost the election, she just handed over power to the Janata Party leaders. And now, it is true, Operation Kamal has taken place in the past. MLAs of the opposition, the BJP has broken them, formed government in several states. So also, does it show Arvind Kejriwal's words today that he is worried about the results tomorrow? Yes, the response in his meetings was more subdued than was the case even in the 2024 elections. All these are things we have picked up, but let's wait for the results. They're not far away. Yes. They will tell us the real story.
Yes, wait for the results is something that I would agree with you, Neerja. But Sandeep Shastri, come in now over the larger messaging. Of course, we'll wait for the results and see what really happens. By this time, we'll be sitting here and analyzing results again. But because there is this 24 hours interim, and there is a lot of concerns about it, exit polls, directionally, do you think, because they've got Delhi invariably right in all the elections that have happened, directionally it could be very well the reason why BJP has started making laddus in their party office in Pandit Panth Marg?
Maria, exit polls have always evoked both excitement and cynicism, so there is nothing new on that. But I think what has happened is in the last day and a half, the rise of all these allegations and counter allegations has shifted attention away from what the exit poll is saying to the allegations and counter allegations. Otherwise, we would not have all channels since the afternoon would not have spent time discussing this issue. So in a way, it has sidetracked attention away from the whole discussion on who is likely to win and who is not likely to win. And I think in some ways, what we have noticed, both the attack and the counter attack, in a sense, is the crescendo of a campaign that we have had, which has been intensely negative. And I'm not saying any one side, from both sides, it's been an intensively negative campaign. And in some senses, this is a crescendo to the same. As you rightly mentioned, allegations and counter allegations have always been a part of electoral campaigns and in the run up to electoral results. But I think the speed with which action has happened is something which I think is new. And that speed with which action has happened has actually led to this diversion of attention away from the key issues. Otherwise, people would have seen it as routine charges which have been made.
So, Amitabh Tiwari, I would agree with Sandeep Shastri that through the day, we really did not discuss exit polls as much, although, you know, a day ahead of the results, it's usually the exit polls which is discussed. But instead, what was being talked about by just about every, media house was the allegation which came in from the Aam Aadmi Party and then the ACB landing at Mr. Kejriwal's residence and how it took to that tension between the two sides 2 notches up.
Yeah, so essentially it's a continuation of the high-pitched battle we've seen in the past 1.5, 2 months. Largely allegations, counter allegations, and also largely rhetorical, not focusing on the real issues. Now, diversion is a political strategy which is used by most political parties as well as big leaders. So I would agree here in that sense that maybe the Aam Aadmi Party realized that, I'm not saying they are making false allegations here. What I'm saying is as a strategy, what we are discussing today is not the exit polls or who is likely to win or what is the poll of polls, but we are discussing which MLA or which party is being offered money without even knowing that that MLA or candidate is actually going to win. That's number one. Number two is this also shows that maybe both the parties actually are feeling jittery about the results. They feel that the contest could be much closer than what it is, and they are preparing or safeguarding their own votes, or maybe either preparing for a plan B. Because see, we've seen in the past that Kejriwal has made certain allegations that the voters would be inked and not allowed to vote, correct? But we saw that even in the core constituencies of the minority dominated areas, the voting percentage has been high. So that has not happened. So he has a tendency of preempting things also. Then we've seen that unlike in the past where in the last 1 hour, there is a 7 to 8% addition in the turnout, we've seen here a marginal 2.5% addition only. So it tends to preempt things also in a way, because compared to other opposition leaders, particularly the Congress party, Arvind Kejriwal is an astute political player. And he's sort of trying to safeguard his house. Aam Aadmi Party may not have anticipated that the ACB will act so quickly, because they would have then got the chance to criticize the BJP or the ACB or the Home Ministry that they are not taking action, why they are not taking action. So perhaps that might have taken them a bit surprised.
So,
but that's
you think it was more of a cry wolf strategy?
Sorry?
It was more of a cry wolf strategy in the sense that something may not have happened, but they made that noise just to...
See, maybe something has happened, but say I call you, let's say, saying that I am from BJP. How do you know I am from BJP? I could be from Aam Aadmi Party also, I could be from Congress also, I could be from anywhere. Correct?
Yeah, that's the subject of investigation.
It could be a mischief also. So I'm not saying the calls have not been made. Calls could have been made, but how do you verify the identity of the caller? So they have made a complaint, and the ACB is investigating it. Of course, they are investigating it at a much faster pace than they would have normally done. But it's election time, and the BJP also perhaps did not want to give any chance to the Aam Aadmi Party to criticize them that they have not been taking action on these, and Operation Lotus again is perhaps coming back or haunting Delhi.
Okay. Rashid, in all this, one thing is becoming clear, that Congress is watching on the side, sitting on the sidelines and watching this match.
Yeah, obviously, but I think coming back to that today's controversy, I think it's a serious allegation, and it can only be investigated. It cannot be deliberated and decided in a TV studio. It cannot be Shazia Ilmi or Maria Shakil or Amitabh Tiwari or anybody. We cannot be, taking this side or that. It is for the police to have impartial probe. Now that Maria, it is a allegation of a bribe giving or a bribe taker. The Supreme Court in JMM case made it clear that it is the bribe giver who is a bigger offender than the bribe taker. In this scheme of things, the ACB or Delhi police should have acted, impartial in an impartial manner. They should have gone to the residence or to the offices of both political parties who are trading this charge, and come up with a formulation that it was a hoax or it was a pre-planned or conspiracy or whatever the investigation had shown. Here, what we are saying is a one-dimensional thing. A victim is asked to, prove, furnish all proof
Okay,
and evidence.
Rashid, I have one question to you. I have one question to you, and that is emerging from this entire Yamuna water fiasco. So, Aam Aadmi Party in that press conference produces 4 bottles of water, says that it's poisonous, and the poison is coming from Haryana government. When Haryana government counters it, they forget that issue and they move on to another issue. Is that the discourse of politics we want? Particularly when it is about such basic needs and essential needs of ours, bijli, sadak, pani?
So, Maria, this is a value judgment that we are presenting. It is for the voter. It was a ploy, or you can say it was a thing. It is for voters, and voters have given their verdict. We'll get to know, you see, what is the voters' verdict, whether it is for Kejriwal or anti-Kejriwal. What I'm saying is there is no point, we cannot take moral stand in a situation where both sides...
So one thing I agree with you, that this is an election which is a referendum on Mr. Kejriwal. Neerja Chaudhary, since you were smiling, I would ask that question to you. This is a question which is about, I asked one of the Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons, and his response was that every election turns out to be a battle for survival for us. We have survived for all 10 years. Why should this election be seen as a battle for survival?
I think it is true that this electoral battle in Delhi has been all about Arvind Kejriwal. Yes. Either you're for him or you're against him. And there has been no other personality, not Prime Minister's, batted on the side of the BJP, but he does every time. The central character has been Arvind Kejriwal. Now, why is it more of a battle this time, as I call it, an existentialist crisis for them, in case they lose this election? I know Arvind Kejriwal is a never-say-die politician. He's had spirit of a kind that, has made his party stay there and fight. And yet, if he loses this time, I say he's going to be a sitting duck. The Aam Aadmi Party is going to be a sitting duck. For the BJP, the MLAs may start to leave. It may erode at the seams. It may break. All that is likely because, BJP, we've seen in action, when they win and... or they are near enough victory. And the question that also arises is what Arvind Kejriwal has said today about BJP poaching. Is it a preemptive statement? Does he feel it's going to be a very close contest and therefore is trying to prevent something that he sees might happen in the hours to come or days to come? And if he goes public, he's warned the people, he's warned his MLAs. I don't know the answer to that. But certainly the stakes are are the highest for Kejriwal today than for anyone else in the contest.
Yes. So is this more preemptive than Valmiki Nayak?
So I just want to quickly address the point about, this election being about Mr. Kejriwal. Of course, it is about Mr. Kejriwal because we had projected him as our face for the Delhi election, and at least we had a face. Who was the BJP's face in this election? Who was the Congress's face in the election? So I don't think there should be any doubt about that. But coming back to the allegations of crying wolves and why all this is happening, think about it logically. Why would we do such a thing? The elections are over, the votes have been cast, the results are not out yet. Between the election and the results, why would we come up with a story like this? We are only bringing this up because it has actually happened. And I'll tell you why it has happened. There are two reasons for it. One, this is what BJP does. A third of the governments they have today, out of the 20 odd, are because they have toppled governments through Operation Lotus and not won elections and formed the governments. Secondly, let me be very clear that in this election, we ourselves have admitted that, we would not be winning in the 60s like we had in 2015 and 2020, but we would be more in the 50s. The whole reason BJP has been fighting this election so hard is that to try and get AAP's tally as close to 35 as possible, so then they can make it Operation Lotus a little easier for themselves. And they realized after the polls that this is not happening. Aam Aadmi Party is still going to be in the mid to high 50s in this election. And that is why I believe they started Operation Lotus a little earlier than they would have after the MLAs had been elected, because they wanted to create an aura through these fake exit polls and try and change the mind and get these candidates to jump even before the election. That is my thesis.
Wow. I mean, what planning. So, Maria, if I can jump in. So, Maria, if I may jump in, if you can indulge me.
Yes,
so
please go ahead.
Apparently, there is a tweet that goes out creating this panic that there's some horse trading going on. And of course, the accusation is that Delhi police does not do anything and does not act upon this. This is a clear case of open corruption that's going on. And when ACB goes, they're not given any, they're not allowed in. And when they ask a very simple question, that on what basis are you tweeting this? Who are those 16 MLAs? Who are those persons in BJP? There is no answer whatsoever. Just like the last time, and apparently Yamuna river was being poisoned by none less than Nayab Saini. And not just that, Zahir, poison was being used and it was being thrown into Yamuna for genocide. Hear my words, Narsanhar and genocide, making poor Haryana CM, putting him in the club of Hitler and Pol Pot and all of that, creating a Khmer Rouge kind of a situation. And the minute they explain and ask as to where this is Zahir, how much has been given, where exactly has it been thrown in, and who are the engineers, they changed the goalpost and made it about something else. Similarly, now when the simple question is being asked, one phone number has been given which doesn't exist. It is from Sultanpur Majra, a person who lives there is registered in the name, and for other, and he himself is saying that I got a missed call from this number. So this is what I've heard of the story. Either that person who is saying I just live here in a small juggi. So if he has been calling up 16 people and offering them 15 crores cash. So there has to be something. There has to be something there. I can, Maria, accuse you, I can accuse you and say that, Maria, you've been threatening to kill me. You've been doing this to me. But you'll say, but why? And then everybody is expected to ask you, Maria, why did you do that? But you said, I've never done that. This is coming from somewhere else. So these people are extremely creative and innovative when it comes to lying.
So you're saying these are outlandish claims which are being made
just another shoot and spoot
just
story.
For attention.
No, so
this is attention grabbing methods.
Typical AAP dirty tricks department. The whole party has become a dirty tricks department. Earlier they used to have one, but now the entire party is just a dirty tricks department. They have nothing to say, no evidence to substantiate these very wild allegations with, yes, can I tell you, Manish Sisodia said it when he was arrested. Operation Lotus is being done and they're offering me money to join BJP. Now, a person who barely won, who was almost defeated. So we made that very clear. And we said, but he barely won. Why would you want him in our party? Because he's anyway almost lost. They became quiet. Atashi in the last Lok Sabha elections actually said that they're giving her money and offering her. And we went to EC and we said, please, can you find out who it is? We would like to probe it. So it's one thing to say it in a press conference and just tweet it. And when there is actually follow-up, nothing comes from them. Atashi, till date, when were the Lok Sabha elections? May, till now. We haven't heard from her as to who offered her stashes of money, where did the phone call come from, where was that jinn which came out from Aladdin's lamp, which offered her this. Nobody knows this. You see, so who are these people?
So the point being
them?
made here, Valmiki, will you respond to that? That there are a number of these claims that have been made by the Aam Aadmi Party in recent years against the BJP of, alleged bribes being paid. But none of these reach a logical conclusion. What it invariably appears is that this is some kind of attention-grabbing method.
Is it really a bizarre claim? Think about it. Isn't BJP known all over the country for doing this?
Not really.
It's not
no.
exactly something outlandish we are claiming. And this particular case is, as I just said, this is not going to change the results of the party. It's not something we are creating to influence people and their votes. The votes have already been cast. It's not going to change the result of the election. Why would we create this story? So this is exactly what BJP does, and each time they have done it, we have revealed that they have done it, because it is a matter of public importance, and it is the responsibility of the agencies to probe these. So, and those agencies are controlled by the Bharatiya Janata Party. So if Shazia is saying that nothing has come out of it, then I think she should blame her own party's agencies, not Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay, and
so you can keep lying and make up a story.
Rashid also said,
and we have to prove that. So you can keep lying and spreading canards and making these wild, reckless allegations, and then BJP should figure that out. I want to remind you of one more thing. Atishi, there was something horrible written about her. It was really the worst kind of yellow journalism, and there were some pamphlets. And something, she directly accused Gautam Gambhir. And she just cried on television, press conference. If somebody wrote such filthy things about me, I would go to the police, right? I would file a case, I would go to the police. I went to the police station along with Gautam Gambhir. And I said, who has done this? So can you imagine, you cry and you say, people are writing this about me, about her personal life. And then you don't want to take it to the cops. And now you're wondering why the police is investigating. You are saying something very serious. 16 MLAs are being MLAs to be. We don't even know whether 16 will win. And you yourself are saying that exit polls are showing a larger number. So deep down, you also know that you're rattled, and it might not be 16, maybe even only. But who are those MLAs? Arvind Kejriwal led a meeting today. I want to tell all of you sitting there, Arvind Kejriwal called all the 70 candidates, and he was petrified, and he called them. If he knew the names of the 16 people, he could have given these names, and the police could have asked them, who are the people who have asked you? That would have been a great way
let me bring Sandeep Shastri and Amitabh Tiwari and try and understand. I'm coming back to you. All of you have had your word and your say. Let me put focus back on the Delhi polls now. Sandeep Shastri, Professor Shastri, my question is that given how the voter turnout has been, which is 2.5% less than 2020, will you be reading anything in this, and also that's increase or significant difference between the women voter and the men voter? The women voters are higher than the men voters.
On the first question, I don't think there is any empirical evidence to show that a reduced or higher voter turnout benefits the incumbent or the challenger. I think there can be examples of both being cited. And on the rise of the women vote, I think we have seen in the past that the woman voter has played a critical role in recent times in swaying an election in a particular direction. Many people say that that was a critical factor in Haryana and Jharkhand. So the woman
and
vote
Maharashtra,
influencing the result.
Ladki Behan scheme.
Yeah. And Madhya Pradesh, yes, and to a certain extent Maharashtra, yes. This factor has been a critical factor. But Maria, I would make one more point,
sure, sir.
Which is this. If the exit polls move if tomorrow we see the trend going in the same direction, I think compared to 9 months ago when you had the Lok Sabha result and the BJP had to seek a victory within the NDA umbrella, I think Haryana and then Maharashtra, and then depending on the nature of the result that emerges tomorrow, I think that is going to have an important impact on the cut and thrust of politics in the country, leading on to Bihar towards the end of the year.
Yes, and how do you see that?
No, what I'm saying is I mean, the BJP saw
My
a
question is that
recovery.
since you say that it will have a huge impact on the direction of Indian politics, and I agree with you, what do you think is likely impact of this? Let's look at scenarios.
I think we have already seen when the Haryana result came out and when the Maharashtra result came out, the way in which the BJP took a stance, which was so different from after the 2024 elections. If you look at the victory speeches after 2024 elections and after Haryana and Maharashtra, after Haryana and Maharashtra, it was much more
It
like
changed.
it was
A
after
drastic shift. I
2019.
agree with you,
So
sir.
this, I think, in that sense, this election is critical. If it goes the way of the exit polls, I think it strengthens what the BJP would want and to a certain extent lead to forgetting the impact of the 2024 verdict. But if it were not to go that way, I think it would put brakes on that momentum which was built up by Haryana
Yes.
and Maharashtra.
I would also say, Amitabh Tiwari, if the exit polls actually come true, then everything has to be studied about BJP's political strategy, how it changes from state to state, very different in Lok Sabha polls, and still if they are managing to win elections.
See, essentially,
it's a textbook case of winning elections, I would say.
Yeah, so if the polls hold true, that what it shows is that BJP has gone back to the drawing board after the setback in 2024, the Lok Sabha elections, and it has tweaked its strategy. If you see, as you mentioned, 3 different strategies in 3 different states. In Haryana, it was a seat-by-seat local election which was fought, a very micromanagement kind of election. The PM himself also pulled himself back, held only 4 rallies. Then in Maharashtra, you see, a social welfare program was launched, which was akin to the Madhya Pradesh, learnings from Madhya Pradesh, that this could impact the women vote, which is emerging as a kingmaker in many states. They made that change, also ensured that 5 to 6 months of the Ladki Bahin Yojana was transferred into the accounts of the women, and also sort of led a combined leadership on the state level, did not declare who is the CM. Again, here the Prime Minister also did not hold many rallies which he used to hold in the past. Now, if you come to Delhi, after the victories in Haryana and Maharashtra, because Arvind Kejriwal was asking this question, Kejriwal versus who, we see a mixture of strategy, is a mixture of presidential and a seat by seat. The Prime Minister came in to rebut or to take on Kejriwal as the, let's say, a super CM face of the BJP, while it also raised local issues seat by seat. There were many spokespersons of the party going around the Vidhan Sabhas, showing the civic issues, cleanliness, etc. So it has followed here a mixture of strategy of a presidential and a seat by seat. So it does tend to follow different strategies in different elections, but success has many fathers, failure has none. So if the results hold true, we would say that, of course, this is a master stroke and this has worked. What Shastri sir is saying is, or rather what you raised is a valid point is that the lower turnout does complicate matters for all pollsters, because who turned out in lesser numbers, which class, which caste group, which religion, because the women turnout is not significantly higher, it's just 0.7% higher than males. But all these calculations would have already been done by the pollsters. So have they factored in a higher turnout, a lower turnout? A lower turnout does complicate matters because it does not show the enthusiasm amongst the voters for a change. That's also true. It's not that a lower turnout does not mean that governments cannot change, as sir is saying. So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
Okay, so there are a lot of ifs and buts. But if the exit pollsters get it right, Rashid, then the main politics will be playing out within the India bloc. But certainly one thing is then the Congress has the potential of emerging as a possible opposition bloc in Delhi and in other states also. That cannot continue to cede space.
Yeah. So, Maria, I think that is a bit wishful on the part of Congress, because if you look at 2014, 2019, Congress performed very badly in Lok Sabha. It did reasonably well in 2024 elections when it got it's on its own 99 seats. But out of 99 seats, 37 seats it won because of alliances in Uttar Pradesh, in Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu and elsewhere. So Congress without alliance is quite vulnerable. It's not about Delhi. There are 5 states where Congress does not have a single MLA. So if Arvind Kejriwal fails to make it, there is going to be a lot of problems within the India bloc, because the Congress will be accused of, defeat of a, so to say, a secular government in Delhi. On the other hand, a BJP victory would mean that, the one nation, one election will become a reality, perhaps closer to 2019, because 2029, because Maria, as all experts are saying, it would mean the BJP has cracked a code for winning elections. Seen, unseen, visible, invisible, all they have the strategy. They can beat, the Congress, alliance partners, and a regional, political startup like Aam Aadmi Party. But if Arvind Kejriwal, proves pollsters wrong, and even 0.75% increase in women voter is a very significant pointer, because Kejriwal has a greater traction among women voters in Delhi, then Mr. Kejriwal would emerge as a national sort of player, and that is also not a good news for the Congress, because Mr. Kejriwal, seems very premature to say now, but will be a contender in 2029. Not so much Rahul Gandhi. So there is going to be a lot of problems within India Alliance. I think practically India Alliance is over. But if Kejriwal wins, then there will be an India Alliance minus Congress.
Okay, and if the Kejriwal doesn't win, then it's good news for the Congress party?
Well, the Congress persons, I mean, Ajay Makan and everyone thinks that way. But I'm not sure, because, you need to have a match, because wherever there is a direct contest between BJP and Congress, the Congress performs pretty badly. So therefore, you see, it's a bit wishful, as I said, on the part of Congress to think that it can take on the BJP directly without the India Alliance partners. And as I said, 2024 elections, if it was not Alliance partner, the Congress would have been 37 seats short.
And does it make matters worrisome for Nitish Kumar, Professor Shastri? 8 months down the line, Bihar goes to polls?
I think the results tomorrow will have a critical impact on how things pan out in Bihar, because already there are discussions on how the permutations and combinations will happen within the NDA. So beyond a shadow of doubt, tomorrow's result will definitely have an impact on how the posturing will happen within the NDA. And I think if the exit polls were to prove to be correct tomorrow, I think BJP would very much be in the driving seat when it comes to Bihar.
Yes, and look how narrative changed from July to now, July 2024 to now, from 18th Lok Sabha taking shape to multiple state elections, and now we are looking at Delhi poll results, which will be happening tomorrow, building up to Bihar, and things having shifted so drastically. This is the party which Mr. Shah famously said during the course of one of the interviews that I did, Nirja Chaudhary, that चुनाव स्पष्टता से लड़ा जाता है, चुनाव का लक्ष्य जीत होता है, that it is about victory, moral victory, which Rahul Gandhi once upon a time spoke about, doesn't really hold.
Maria, of course, the BJP, if it wins, will be because of, as you say, spashta, and, pulling out all stops, the organizational heft they have, the RSS pulling out all stops again. After Haryana and Maharashtra, now in Delhi, house-to-house campaigning, PM's popularity not having waned, all these things will be proved. But it cannot happen without a fundamental ground level shift in the mood of Delhiites.
Absolutely.
That is what I think, that Delhiites, and that probably if BJP wins, as the exit polls are predicting, then Delhiites is not only the middle class that is opting and looking at the BJP with new eyes, it has been other sections also. And it may well be that women also stood so solidly with AAP. At least the middle class women have also shifted their allegiance to the other side. And that may be that people want to change after 10 years. 10 साल देख लिया, अब इनको देखें. And also I feel there somewhere the one nation, not the one, what do you call, the double engine sarkar. And people have also felt that agar Yamuna ka pani saaf karna hai, if we want the air to be clean, pollution to be dealt with, then let's go for the BJP because they have the resources. They are not likely to give those resources to the Aam Aadmi Party. If it emerges as victorious, unke haath pair baandh denge, as we have seen in the past months. So is it a much more transactional voter that we are now seeing coming to the fore? I think that it will be very interesting result. But Delhi is going to influence heartland India, what happens there. And as has been said, with so many Purvanchalis here also, obviously they would have voted for the BJP also if it wins. And that will have resonance back in Bihar also. What happens in Punjab as a result remains to be seen.
Okay, so it's about the crown of India. And can Delhi be that showcase city that we keep talking about? That's the larger question. Because a showcase city cannot have unbreathable air, a poor water quality, and also a city which is constantly struggling with congestion. These are infrastructure issues which should have been addressed, which has not been addressed in the last 10 years is the big question as well. So I have just 30 seconds for all of you. I'm beginning with you, Shazia, 30 seconds and then we move on.
Well, I think for good reason, the voters are shifting away. And I think the true nature of what Aam Aadmi Party is and the true character of Arvind Kejriwal stands exposed only because of the impact that the party and its lack of governance has been manifested in all the civic issues that we see. But even in the Juggi Jopris, if you see, there is a crying need for clean water and a lot of women have been complaining.
Okay.
Sharab Ghotala and all, I mean, it makes for very good optics, but if there is corruption, but it's not impacting the regular folk, it's not an issue. And Sheesh Mahal definitely, no, the reason I'm saying is the Sheesh Mahal became symbolic of what Kejriwal stood for. So while it's a matter of corruption, but when it comes to Kejriwal, who came on the plank of eradicating corruption, doing away with it and transformative politics, this has really been a big fall in the image.
Okay,
and
so
a huge
we will
dent
see
in
the
what is
results tomorrow, Shazia. I'm
credibility.
sure you'll come on the channel and you'll be able to share your thoughts on that too. You know, as someone who has worked with the Aam Aadmi Party and then now with the BJP, you see the difference in the style of functioning of the two parties. So you have insights, unlike many. Please go ahead, Mr. Naik.
First of all, I just want to conclude by saying that we are confident of forming the government for the fourth time in Delhi tomorrow. There was a lot of analysis and conjectures about what will happen to Aam Aadmi Party or Arvind Kejriwal if we lose tomorrow. And we have always said this, it doesn't matter if Aam Aadmi Party or Arvind Kejriwal loses, because most of us, including Shazia, who was a founder member of Aam Aadmi Party, I don't think we came from, traditional politics. We came into politics because it was Aam Aadmi Party. So tomorrow, if Aam Aadmi Party loses the election, it doesn't matter to either of us because we never had political ambitions, so we don't really worry about a political future as such, but we do worry about the future of the common man. What happens to the education of their child? What happens to their job prospects?
Yeah,
what
but
happens to their
think
household budget during
we will
price
wait
rise
for the results.
like this?
Amitabh Tiwari.
See, it is likely to be decided by the fact that how much credibility has been dented of Arvind Kejriwal largely, because it's a Kejriwal's election. Aam Aadmi Party gets votes largely on his name. How much of his credibility has been dented by this Liquorgate and Sheesh Mahal allegations? And also the non-fulfillment of certain promises and these problems like air pollution or the cleaning of Yamuna also perhaps throw a question mark on the ability of the Aam Aadmi Party to solve critical issues. So delivery of performance is also critical, and that will also be tested in these elections.
Okay, let's move on. What is going to be the outcome will have an impact on national politics, and of course will set the direction in many ways of India bloc, its relevance, or whether it is collapsing, which has collapsed for all practical purposes, Rashid. Do you think India bloc can get its act together, Rashid?
Yeah, so Maria, you rightly said India bloc is a thing of a past, because without Congress, the India bloc will only be a sort of a union of some, regional parties. So India bloc is over. I think in either way, it will be a smooth this thing for Narendra Modi and BJP till 2029, because no matter Mr. Arvind Kejriwal may project himself as a national alternative, he will essentially be, even in the event of victory, he'll be damaging the Congress more than the BJP. For the BJP, it will be a kind of model defeat, but after all, it's a city government, and the BJP will continue to have its lieutenant governor.
Okay. Professor Shastri, and then I'll give the last word to the woman on the panel, Neerja Chaudhary. Go ahead, Professor Shastri.
Mario, 12 hours from now, we will know who has won and who has lost. But I think the real winner tomorrow for me in this election is the wisdom and sagacity of the Indian voter as seen in its microcosm in Delhi. So I think the Indian voter continues to baffle us in every election, and that is what is fascinating, and that is what I look forward to analyzing tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's the surprise factor, the most unpredictable aspect in this entire theory is the Indian voter, the Delhi voter. What did they do? Neerja Chaudhary will know about it in the next 12 hours.
Absolutely, we'll know tomorrow by this time and even earlier.
Yes.
But India Bloc, I would not say it's the end of India Bloc. It's a huge setback for India Bloc and for the Congress Party, ironically, which may contribute to the defeat of Aam Aadmi Party if that happens, depending on the vote share they glean. But because the morale will be affected. But I think, remember when the Congress began to decline, it took all of 25 years for the BJP to emerge as an alternative. That period was, dominated by two coalitions. Parties also take time to die. Parties take time to revive. So also there'll be a period, even if the BJP next time heads another coalition in 2029 or comes to power alone, that is a separate matter. But Congress on its own to come back to power, unless there's a dramatic change that takes place in 2029, also I think is, to me, a remote possibility, but at the head of a coalition, yes, it could be a possibility.
All
Therefore,
right.
it's in the interest of the Congress to work with other regional parties and vice versa.
All
so
right.
I see it, as heralding the end of India Bloc.
Okay. So let's see what happens tomorrow, and we hope to see all of you in the studios. So thank you so much for joining us. A quick break and then we return.